This video actually sees the conclusion of this first Helix. You see, over the last few days, I have fully wired it up, fully operational and ready to go. So to get this video kicked off, I'm going to do a bit of a running session, and this one here is going to go through the Helix and take the train right up to the top here. There's a few surprises in there, so stay tuned, sit back, relax, and then once that's done, I'll cross over. I'll show you a little bit more close up on what I've done to complete the Helix. So in front of us here, you can see all the dropper wires from all the track from each of the tiers of the Helix. What I've done, I've put my new connectors in, and all the wires have had their length adjusted. So you can see there are my connector block. You can see one side where all the wires have been connected, all the dropper wires from the track have been connected, and then the other side has been daisy chained with these metal connectors. Now, really love these metal connectors. They're sort of coated in my red and black as I have done with my wires, and what I do is cut them to length depending on how many reds, how many blacks I need or need to be powered. On the side where it has been daisy chained, you can see I've taken power to power up the new connector on the right. You can see there was just way too many wires, and I think 12 is probably the max on these connector blocks. So I've had to put a new one in. So you can see on the left there of the large 12 power connector, power's going through the board. That actually gets connected underneath to the southern end DCC bus line. If you take a closer look, I've actually fastened the wires to the structure with these metal connector lugs. Now, I had a bunch of these left over from when I was building my custom DCC cabinet. Thought instead of going out buying something to fasten the wires to the structure, I thought these were pretty good. They had a bit of a space in between the lug and where the screw goes, so I basically used this and it worked out quite well. Now on the tops where you can actually see the wires, I'm actually going to paint them out a burnt umber, the same paint that I used when I went around the layout to touch up where my joiners were and that type of stuff. And then once the scenery goes in on top tier of this Helix, it'll be scenic and you'll be seeing trains run. So obviously where I've had to have the wires exposed, I'll paint them out and they'll be hidden within the scenery. At a later stage too, on the outside, I will be putting fascia down and around the Helix. Look, it's not going to be covered or concealed completely. There will be portals. I prefer to see trains running around, so if something does go wrong, I can get onto it pretty quick. But that'll be a future task, especially when I start to put the fascia up and around this layout. So on this side of the viaduct, it's actually been insulated. So everything from this end down to level 1 is powered by 3 power buses. Now, one on the southern end, one on the northern end, and then I've got a separate bus to take care of my reverse loop. But round about here is basically where I've insulated. So all this area onwards, leading into level 2, is now going to be powered by a separate powered DCC bus. And level 2 is going to be broken up into 2 main buses, one on the southern end where I am at the moment and down on the northern end. Because I'd switched sides laying track, I was going to make a major mistake and have a short circuit, and I said basically I need to come back to this viaduct and switch my wires around. Well, in actual fact, the viaduct is fine. What I need to do is basically, I've got some dropper wires there, and I had some dropper wires there that I need to fix up. Now, if you notice, I'll just zoom up. You'll probably notice my cheat sheet there is basically upside down. Now, this is the correction I wanted to make. So basically, because I loop back on myself and I'm coming up to level 2, what I'd forgotten to do was to take this cheat sheet and turn it upside down. So in actual fact, now that I'm on to level 2, the black wire is now at the closest rail on each of those sets, not how it was on level 1 where the red wire was closest to me. There's a couple of dropper wires that I do have to fix up. So right here in front of me, you can see those strands, and these are heat shrink tubes. Now basically what I'm going to do is swap the colors. Obviously I don't want to pull the track up and I don't want to rip the wires out, so I'm going to use these heat shrink tubes to change the color around and reverse this section over here and this other section over there. And once I've got them hooked up and I've got the wires to the correct length, I will then put that on, apply heat to it, shrink it onto the wire, so it will then be as it should be, and so that mistake will be undone. So there you have it. That's what I've done to conclude this Helix. Over the next week, obviously I'll continue over there around the station. I do plan to build out the station platform, and hopefully the next run you'll see we'll have trains going all the way over to the actual station. And until next time, bye for now.